Hi, my name is Ginny, also known as Two-Thirds Lotus, and this clip is part of my series analyzing the Essential Bukowski, edited by Abel DeBrito. Nothing has been edited out, so you're seeing this exactly as it was streamed on Twitch, with all the imperfections and tangents of a live stream. If you want to learn more or catch me live, make sure to check out the description, otherwise enjoy the incredible work of Charles Bukowski. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you, by Charles Bukowski. We have everything and we have nothing. And some men do it in churches, and some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. And some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes, with Cadillac souls, Cadillacs and butterflies. Nothing and everything. The face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Something at 8 a.m. Something in the library. Something in the river. Everything and nothing. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along the ceiling on a hook, and you swing it. 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it, $200 worth of dead meat. It's bones against your bones. Something and nothing. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. And the drill of blood in the basin white. It tells you nothing at all. And the gravediggers playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost. They tell you nothing at all. We have everything and we have nothing. Days with glass edges and the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves, fagged interest with as much sense in defeat as in victory, slow days like mules humping it slagged and sullen and sun-glazed up a road where a madman sits waiting among blue jays and wrens netted in and sucked a flaky gray. Good days too of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striving around your bowels buried in moans, the signs in bull rings like diamonds hollering, Mother Capri, violets coming out of the ground telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. Days when children say funny and brilliant things like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks and ideals and possessions and beetle-like opinions. Days when you can cry all day long in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man because his legs are too long. Days of looking at hedges. And nothing. And nothing. The days the bosses. The days of the bosses, yellow men. With bad breath and big feet, men who look like frogs, hyenas, men who walk as if melody had never been invented, men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit, men with expensive wives they possess like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off or to be walled away from the incompetent, men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world and yet never get out of their vest pockets. Men like snails, men like eels, men like slugs. And not as good. And nothing. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the stuffing comes out like an old pillow. We have everything and we have nothing. Some do it well enough for a while and then give way. Fame gets them, or disgust, or age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. The man you knew yesterday, hooking for 10 rounds or drinking for 3 days and 3 nights by the Sawtooth Mountains, now just something under a sheet or a cross or a stone or under an easy delusion, or packing a Bible or a golf bag or a briefcase. How they go, how they go. All the ones you thought would never go. Days like this, like your day today. Maybe the rain on the window trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. People in wax museums frozen into their best sterility are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. The cannon, think of the cannon. And toast for breakfast. The coffee hot enough you know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window, trying to be red and trying to be pink and trying to be geraniums. No wonder sometimes the women cry. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? One more good day? A little bit of it. And as the nurses come out of the building after their shift, having had enough, 8 nurses with different names and different places to go, walking across the lawn. Some of them want cocoa and a paper. Some of them want a hot bath. Some of them want a man. Some of them are hardly thinking at all. Enough and not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. In the most decent, sometimes sun, there is the soft smoke feeling from urns, and the canned sound of old battle planes. And if you go inside and run your finger along the window ledge, you'll find dirt. Maybe even earth. And if you look out the window, there will be the day. And as you get older, you'll keep looking, sucking your tongue in a little. No, maybe. Some do it naturally. Some obscenely. Everywhere. Something for the touts, the nuns, the groceries, clerks, and you. There's a lot in this poem. And this will be an interesting exercise in reading something new and longer. Is there a reason Charlie chose Corpus Christi? Beyond the Christian reference, I know it's a town. Yeah, where's Corpus Christi at? It's in Texas, that's right. Oh yeah, it's I think there's like a big military presence there. Methinks. It has a naval air station. I believe it's a fairly famous one. Corpus Christi Army Depot. I think it's very much like a military town. I think that's why. God, how can someone write this much? I say that as an author. I mean, yeah, honestly, I agree. He writes a lot, especially in a fairly short space. You understand nothing. There's a uni too. I mean, probably. There's a university in every town in America. It's kind of the point. I hate universities. Evil constructs. Ugh. Bottle keeps yelling at me. I'm gonna read this again. I know. Buckle up. Because I didn't begin to catch everything the first time. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery store clerks, and you. We have everything and we have nothing. And some men do it in churches, and some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. Some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes. With Cadillac souls, Cadillacs and butterflies, nothing and everything. The face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery store clerks, and you. Something at 8 a.m., something in the library, something in the river, everything and nothing. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along the ceiling on a hook, and you swing it. 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it. $200 worth of dead meat. Its bones against your bones. Something and nothing. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. And the drill of blood in the basin white tells you nothing at all. And the gravedigger is playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost. They tell you nothing at all. We have everything and we have nothing. Days with glass edges, and the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves, fagged interest, with as much sense in defeat as in victory. Slow days like mules, humping it, slagged and sullen and sun-glazed up a road where a madman sits waiting among blue jays and wrens, netted in and sucked of flaky gray. Good days, too, of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striving around your bowels buried in moans. The signs in bull rings like diamonds hollering Mother Capri, violets coming out of the ground telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. Days when children say funny and brilliant things like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks, ideals and possessions and beetle-like opinions. Days when you can cry all day long. in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man because his legs are too long. Days of looking at hedges. And nothing. And nothing. The days of the bosses. Yellow men with bad breath and big feet. Men who look like frogs, hyenas. Men who walk as if melody had never been invented. I love that line. Men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit. Men with expensive wives they possess, like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off or to be walled away from the incompetent. Men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world and yet never get out of their vest pockets. Men like snails. Men like eels. Men like slugs and not as good. And nothing. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor, at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the stuffing comes out like an old pillow. We have everything, and we have nothing. Some do it well enough for a while and then give way. Fame gets them, or disgust, or lack of age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. The man you knew yesterday, hooking for 10 rounds or drinking for 3 days and 3 nights by the Sawtooth Mountains, now just something under a sheet, or a cross, or a stone, or under an easy delusion, or packing a Bible, or a golf bag, or a briefcase. How they go, how they go, all the ones you thought would never go. Days like this. Like your day today. Maybe the rain on the window, trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. People in wax museums, frozen into their best sterility, are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. The canon. Think of the canon. And toast for breakfast, the coffee hot enough, you know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window, trying to be red and trying to be pink and trying to be geraniums. Love that, too. No wonder sometimes the women cry. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? One more good day. A little bit of it. And as the nurses come out of the building after their shift, having had enough, 8 nurses with different names and different places to go, walking across the lawn. Some of them want cocoa and paper. Some of them want a hot bath. Some of them want a man. Some of them are hardly thinking at all. Enough and not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. In the most decent, sometimes sun, there is the soft smoke feeling from urns, and the canned sound of old battle planes, If you go inside and run your finger along the window ledge, you'll find dirt, maybe even earth. If you look out the window, there will be the day. And as you get older, you'll keep looking. Keep looking. Suck your tongue in a little. No. Maybe. Some do it naturally. Some obscenely. Everywhere. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Is tout slang? I don't know. It's T-O-U-T. But, I think the touts are referring to the wealthy people in this poem, those who tout their wealth and whatever. I love how he can paint a picture from a person with just one possession. Yes. Bukowski paints pictures beautifully. Oh, I can picture the small talk. The coffee is definitely hot enough. Now I know my tongue is still there. The worst yapping early in the morning. Oops. Resolution was too small to read. I mean, yeah. Oh, you're referring to tout. I thought you meant the resolution of the poem. But the resolution makes sense as a term for the size of the screen. Tout. Yeah. Initial thoughts from my initial friends here in chat. Anything at all. Confused. Blown away as I am. Other. And you're in 360p and buffering. How I suffer for this stream. I'm sorry. Stylish fail. But I see an excellent bitrate on my end, so I love his descriptions. Do you have any favorites? My big favorites are I said them, but Men Who Walk as If Melody Had Never Been Invented. And also The Geraniums. I'm gonna go and start stream hopping. Poem is good. Have a good day. Abandon me for other people. Let's see how it is, Drowning Devil. I'm joking. I have to think. I couldn't read along. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's hard with the Bukowski ones. We'll just go through. We'll start analyzing. So a big theme in this poem, or a big recurring motif, everything and nothing. I love the men with yachts who travel. Yeah, never get out of their vest pockets. We have everything and we have nothing. This is interesting, right? And he goes to describe the ways we have everything and nothing and repeats this constantly and also changes the order. Sometimes we have nothing and we have everything. And this is interesting. Some men do it in churches. Some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. Some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes. What is it? We continue to talk about it. Especially, I think, toward the end of the poem. Some do it naturally. Some obscenely. This is on the final page. It. Less to do with Bukowski, more my internet, and people living empty lives. For the lack of better phrasing, people care only about the banal. Well, the last it is a penis. It, some obscenely. Do it obscenely. Otherwise, I would say living. I think it's living as well. I think he's referring broadly to life. He is... And sex is part of life for Bukowski. Oh, you're referring to this it. With the butter blondes. Yeah. Yeah. Laying life into someone. It feels like living. Some men do it in churches. Do it by tearing butterflies in half. Easily. With difficulty. In banality. It is living. Yeah. Stuck is, yeah. With Cadillac's soul. So, some men do it in churches. Some men do it by tearing butterflies. Some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes. And it's probably actually a different it. I mean, you could say life, sex, sort of the same it. With Cadillac's souls. Cadillacs and butterflies. Nothing and everything. Cadillac souls. What a beautiful description. And this I'm underlining in red. Along with nothing. And everything. Cadillac souls. Big fancy car. Exactly. The soul is a Cadillac, only caring about the material. I know people, I've met people with Cadillac souls. And that is a beautiful way to describe a soul. Cadillacs and butterflies, nothing and everything. In this sort of parallel structure, blank and blank, blank and blank, it can often be safe to associate like the first with the first and the second with the second. Which brings us back to men tearing butterflies in half. And I think that's pretty much Bukowski talking about someone who's insane. Roughly. And Bukowski probably thinks that's everything. Bukowski believes that insanity is in some way a fulfilling and real life. That's all you know about Cadillacs. I only know Cadillacs from American media. Cadillacs are big, fancy cars. That is the... It is like ostentatious... Or the butterfly thing is cruel. Potentially cruelty. But he does say Cadillacs and butterflies, nothing and everything. And I think he means to imply that the butterfly is everything. And maybe it's a butterfly soul. A beautiful soul, a delicate soul. That is everything. I don't really know, like, Bukowski's thoughts on, like, killing animals. But he talks about a dead cow later. Or dead meat. We don't know if it's a cow. It comes running along. Face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. This is referring to some kind of drug use. Bukowski hates weed. He talks about this in interviews. He hates weed. He thinks it dulls people, and I think the face melting is pretty much a description of that. Killing animals and tearing butterflies in two are kind of different on first face, at least. I guess not for me. I see it as like a butterfly. I mean, a butterfly is maybe like a destruction of beauty, but killing an animal is a destruction of beauty. But I think regardless, these are just different ways of living, all of which he acknowledges, and if this is referring to cruelty, this butterfly might then imply a delicate and beautiful soul, maybe that which is torn in half. So then there is a world that tears the beautiful in half. Like the men later. And this should not be... Which is more of a nothing of life. I meant mainly in the context of the poem. Yeah, the animal later is entirely different, and it's framed differently. It's framed monetarily. They're not particularly related. In a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. So here's a something, and something comes up often as well. And this can be like purple. Something at 8 a.m. Something in the library. Something in the river. Everything and nothing. So, interestingly, something is sort of halfway in between everything and nothing. Especially as he transitions to the slaughterhouse. Yeah, the butterfly has nothing to do with the dead animal. I mean, it sort of does. It all has everything to do with everything. I'm just like, I don't know if Bukowski would find ripping a butterfly in half cruel. This I am uncertain of. It certainly is, from my values. But Bukowski drowns the bluebird in his soul. So, I don't know. In alcohol. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along. The ceiling on a hook, and you swing it. 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it. $200 worth of dead meat. Its bones against your bones. Something and nothing. Ooh, wait, I didn't catch this at first, that this is something and nothing, which is not the same as everything and nothing. So this is the same something here. The same something at 8 a.m., the same something in the library, the same something in the river. This it is something. As long as it comes and you swing it and you've got it. It is something. I would say both are cruel or banally evil. Banally. I guess that's a word, yeah. With no care of the meat. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if Bukowski sees it as cruel. There is something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. So something is maybe more important than everything and nothing, which is maybe fulfillment and selling out to some kind of capitalism or something, probably given Bukowski. But something is different. Something occupies a place between, and I think figuring out what something is will help us. It's always enough. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. It's always early enough to die. It's always too late. Something and nothing? Perhaps these are related. They're both killed in an ugly, non-empathetic way. Yeah. Bukowski also, while he has high regard for life, I find doesn't often have high regard for lives. The animal is not involved. Yeah. Like, I think it's messed up. Bukowski describes it very face value, as it is. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. Come back to that. And the drill of blood in the basin white tells you nothing at all. And the gravediggers playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost, they tell you nothing at all. So this is nothing in this section. This section is something. And then the first is sort of the everything-nothing duality. We have everything and we have nothing. We'll talk about this again. That couplet, it's always early enough to die, is very nihilistic. Maybe we should break this down. It's always early enough to die. It's always too late. It's not immediately my reading of it as nihilistic. It's always early enough to die. It's always too late. Like, this shows two different... Like, maybe it's always early enough to die feels nihilistic. It's always too late to die. I guess regardless, it's a two. I read the last sentence as... It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. That's possible. Too late to find something. We do immediately go into, and the drill blood in the basin white tells you nothing at all, right? It is too late, and you are not able to find something. You are not able to find something with these people in some way related to death. So, maybe this is actually part of the next section. He hasn't spaced anything out yet. So, and the comma here feels like this isn't actually a break of stanza going into the next page. And this is the first actual one. This feels like an odd place to end a stanza. We have everything and we have nothing. Days with glass edges. And the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves. I think this is... I like this. Moves of everything. Counter moves to show us that things mean nothing. A beating down of life, sort of. Always a response to life. It's always a response. Life has a response. Days with glass edges. Fragile, perhaps? fagged interest, with as much sense in defeat as in victory. With as much sense in defeat as in victory. So this is probably back to our, like, duality of the everything and nothing. And I mean, we say it at the start. Slow days like mules, humping it slagged and sullen, and unglazed up a road. So this is us, right? We are like these mules that, like, beasts of burden. Is how some of our days are. Slogging, trudging, pulling weights beyond our ability to pull. In heat that is far too much for us. Where a madman sits and waits among blue jays and wrens, netted in and sucked a flaky gray. You know, I actually think the ripping I think the ripping in half of the butterflies is framed as a good thing. And this is as well. Madman sits waiting among blue jays and wrens, netted in and sucked a flaky gray. A madman, we see him as, or perhaps the mule sees him as, who is living a life of color, who has sucked the color of beautiful things, and is making his life in some way vibrant. A vibrancy that we describe as insane. Bukowski, I think, often exalts the madman, which is why I initially thought that the butterflies were likely a good thing. Destroying a butterfly, ripping it in half, is a dissection. It's a mastery over beauty, perhaps. Could be cruelty, but maybe it's cruel to the mule who sees it as something to momentarily cheer them up before returning to their toil. Or the madman can revel in the beauty of something temporarily instead, and see it as more than that. Good days, too, of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striving around your bowels, buried in moans. The signs in bull rings like diamonds hollering, Mother Capri, violets coming out of the ground, telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. This is all green, finally. Good days. The children, I like this. Savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit. And feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks. And ideals and possessions. Days when you can cry all day long in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man because his legs are too long. And of course, if the children, the good thing, are without locks and paychecks and ideals, or, ideals and possessions and opinions, then these are bad things. These turn the child into a dull boy. Days when you can cry all day long. So let's go back and look at these good things. Good days for Charles Bukowski. Wine, as they should. Shouting, fights in alleys, sex, signs in bull rings, like diamonds hollering Mother Capri. Who is Mother Capri? Mother Capri. I don't, this might have been an expression of the time. I'm not seeing anything. It kind of feels like Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi. I said crispy. Corpus Christi, Capri. It just feels similar, but that's sort of unrelated. Let's have similar sounds. Corpus Christi, Mother Capri. Signs in the bull rings like diamonds hollering Mother Capri. Regardless, energy, life, crunchy Jesus. Yeah, a little crispy. Violets coming out of the ground, telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. I don't even know if the loves that robbed you are necessarily a, quote, bad thing, but forgetting is a good thing, because forgetting is, like, dynamic. It is the same feeling of life. Days when children say funny and brilliant things. Like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel. This is like a pretty important line, I think. Maybe I just like it. But this shows insight that as we grow up, as we grow old, that age and docility and a sort of caving to society is something that is nothing to Bukowski. That's 2 pages. It's fun. Red and green. It's like Christmas. This whole page, red and green. Children without ideals, possessions, and beetle-like opinions. Beetle-like is excellent. Beetles are sort of like they are round and sturdy and kind of like slow. And they amble about. And I think having opinions, or maybe having beetle-like opinions, having afraid opinions, having slow and uninteresting opinions is something that children do not have. Children have butterfly-like opinions, perhaps. Crying all day long is a good thing. Laughing even at the expense of others. Looking at hedges. Finding beauty in all things. And then we have our big nothing section. I would say they are small-minded opinions. Oh, small-minded. There you go. That's good too. I like this. Beetles are often used for smallness. Small-minded. So yeah. The opinions of people who have a very limited world they live in. Yes, people beholden to society. People who do not venture from their beetle existence, who just go along and suffer the fate that they've been consigned to. Next is the bosses section, and which is all red and all very powerful. This poem feels like deeply angry at times. This is definitely the one. The kind of person who would yap about hot coffee. Yeah. Oh, be the kind of person with a mirror in their window to spy on the neighborhood. The kind of person with a mirror in their window to spy on the neighborhood. The kind of person who would yap about hot coffee. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I'm going to run a little ad. So if anyone needs to go to the bathroom, drink water, take meds, I need to do at least 2 of those things. I'll be right back. Don't watch it. Welcome back. Still Jenny. Still two-thirds Lotus. Still reading Bukowski. Our favorite little guy. I'm not going to read the whole poem again right now because we are still going through it on a first analytic pass. Because this is a long work. And nothing. And nothing. The days of the bosses. Yellow men with bad breath and big feet. Men who look like frogs, hyenas. I really enjoy Bukowski's use of different animals here. Frogs are sort of like slimy. And hyenas are like aggressive and predatory, but or scavengers. They scavenge. They pick at the bones of others, right? Tiny Nuggy 1, welcome. We're deep into Bukowski and heading deeper. And he likes it. Men who walk as if melody had never been invented. This line. Men who walk as if melody had never been invented. I mean, Bukowski talks about living a symphonic life. Bukowski talks about living every moment with a sense of beauty. So then men who walk in a stinted, boring, non-interesting, that's the same as boring, banal, or even hurried, too fast for the rest of the world. No drifting of melody, no beautiful meandering about of music. Walk, 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 walk. All rhythm, no melody, perhaps. This is another way to see it. Regardless, men in suits. I was told I danced to a rhythm, but not of the song that was playing. That's where it should be. You just dance. Dance as your body wishes you to dance. Men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit. The worst things in the world, right? Which would be cool if they didn't mean it literally. Oh, I mean, I know. But I think literally is cool as well. Because you're dancing. And dancing is cool. Men with expensive wives they possess like 60 acres of ground. The amount of, like, scathing in these lines at these men. I mean, everything is just, like, brutal. To be drilled or shown off. And this is actually, like... I didn't realize the double entendre until now. To be drilled or shown off. Or to be walled away from the incompetent. You know, of course we think about this as the land and the oil, but the woman. The woman to be drilled, the woman to be shown off, the woman to be walled away. And this sort of thing is, like, what reminds me... Yes, fucking brilliant. Oh my god, I don't swear that much, but... Oh, that... that is so good. Men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit. Men with expensive wives they possess like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off or to be walled away from the incompetent. This also, like, reminds me that... Or it is like actually a great line that shows me that Bukowski is not really such a... Bukowski doesn't hate women. he hates a lot of specific women and a lot of specific whores who took his poems. But Bukowski also looks down on this, right? Bukowski looks down on the possession of a woman and the mistreating. Now, he also has an interesting relation with prostitutes, but that's kind of different. I mean, that's not different. These are still people, but he I feel like I haven't seen like a full range of Bukowski's thoughts on women as a whole. Doesn't hate women a rare note, too rare to write? Hi, Miss Becca Faye. Yes, we got some banger notes on this channel. We all sorts of things that don't belong on poems go on poems. Mathematical graphs, Pokemon types. It's a good time. I think you came from YouTube, is that right? I think he doesn't think of some women as a whole. Yes, like Bukowski somewhat is not entirely woman-hating, and this line has some evidence of that. Which differs from what other people may think. Men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. This guy's like, that is so on point. And we can justify killing because of the law, but then the funny thing is that killing when it's against the law is the crazy people. And this is a bad kind of crazy. Bukowski likes crazy, but not this kind of crazy. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide, they can see the world, right, and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world, yet never get out of their vest pockets. I think this is referring to perhaps a stopwatch in the pocket. They live according to time and a schedule and must move forward and cannot enjoy anything. I did come from YouTube. I don't know Bukowski well, but I like this stanza. We read Bukowski often because I'm trying to get through this Bukowski collection because I do like him and I like reading like an entire body of work of someone. More often than not, we're reading poems from my chat, such as Stylish Fail. We read her work yesterday. Bukowski is interesting. Bukowski is accessible, divisive, poignant, rowdy. He's kind of just a riot in general. A crazy drunk old man, I would say. And nothing. Here's another nothing. And this relates again to the sort of capitalist nothing that Bukowski sees. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor, at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway, income tax, sickness, servility. This is a great word. This is a great word. Servility. Referring to these people, I don't think just the workers as servile, but I think this refers to everyone who's really servile to like wealth and capital as a whole. Like that. Broken arms, broken heads. Along with sickness and income tax. This is probably also just like workplace injuries. I live you love the line oh wait. You love he what's the typo? I live he breaks. Goddamn. Wait, the line between broken... What are you saying? Broken arms, broken heads. I don't know what you're saying, Stylish Fail. All the stuffing comes out like an old pillow. And I think this is just the collapse. I love the line break between broken and... Oh, yeah. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the suffering. That is like a really great little poetic move that he does. And And sometimes when I analyze, I gloss past the little beautiful things like that, which is probably not great because I'm sort of being servile as an analyst. All the stuffing comes out like an old pillow. So Bukowski spends basically an entire page cumulatively ranting about capitalism, which is pretty cool. And the good things are wine and fighting people in bars. And sex and children, usually. You hate typing on phones. I hate typing on phones, too. That's why I don't have a phone. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. I mean, I enjoy it when you're paying attention. It's fun when my thoughts are supplemented by others. It really... That's kind of one of the joys of it. We have everything. Dude, this is a two-color analysis. This is a bichromatic analysis. And we have nothing. Some do it. We're back to it. That is life. Which I think we used was blue. Some live well enough for a while. Some do it well enough for a while, then give way. Fame gets them. So giving way... This is returning to nothing. This is not living. Living well is everything, having everything. Living poorly is having nothing. And fame, disgust, age, lack of proper diet are ways that drive us to nothing. Ink across the eyes. That one's a little bit more of a metaphor. They live well, then fuck up in whatever way. Oh, we're just... No. They live well, then F up in whatever way. Then? Oh, THEN. Then is referring to like this, then this, then this. Then is, Wait, THAN, is that even a word? Greater than, I think. Now, once I start thinking about it, it breaks my brain. Yeah, this is greater than that is THAN, right? Maybe. Ink across the eyes. Ink, I feel, for Bukowski kind of has to refer to writing. And then is like if you're referring to time. Like, we did this, then this. Yes, exactly. Then is time, then is comparison. Yes, we win. Ink across the eyes. Or I wonder if this is just sort of a general, like, being blinded to the beautiful things of life. Ink being just darkness. That could be it. Children in college. College is expensive. New cars. So, one, Bukowski probably, I'd imagine, is not a fan of college as a system. But I'm not sure. But children in college is a nothing. That makes you give way from the good life to the bad. And maybe it's just growing up. Seeing your family leave that he's referring to. New cars is that sort of like capitalistic caving to that system, that servility, that docility. A change of value. When you value the new car, you've died, says Bukowski. Broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, that's just death. New politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. Basically, there are many, many things that can drive us from a beautiful life to a poor one. And the man you knew yesterday, hooking for 10 rounds and drinking for 3 days and 3 nights. This is a good thing. Bukowski thinks this is a positive way to live. Drinking, good, according to Bukowski. Drinking equal good. Drinking is real life. But what comes after is not. Now, something under a sheet or a cross or a stone. They are dead, right? Bukowski was in the 60s, probably, this poem. Anywhere between the 1950s and 1970s, maybe as far as the 80s. You could, if you would like to find that and look up, the name of the poem is pinned. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery store clerks, and you. It can be really hard to find exact information on when Bukowski's works were written, because him and publishing are not like good friends generally. It does check out, yes. Or under an easy delusion. So here we move from an actual death to the death of ease. The delusion of all the life. The delusion is everything here. Or packing a Bible, or a golf bag, or a briefcase. Going from living and being an energetic person, getting wasted and drinking for 3 days and 3 nights. And then how they go. These beautiful people return to their pathetic lives of capitalism, which is not green. How they go is going to red. All the ones you thought would never go. You'd hope this person is an artist too, a person who spends their days and nights drinking and being someone who's living a real life and ripping butterflies in half. And they're not. Someone's sucking the color from everything. This is not most people. And Bukowski laments this because he loves this person. He loves the person who is drinking. Bukowski loves alcoholics, as long as they're an artistic alcoholic. He's a professional alcoholic. Days like this, like your day today, maybe the rain on the window trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. So, we have a really interesting, return to sometimes here. Love alcoholics, but any weed is bad. Bukowski is strange. Yes, weed bad, alcohol good. I think this questioning of what you see today, what is it, where are you, gives that feeling of sometimes. That life in between. So long. Such a long poem. But we're trudging through. The vacant lots. It's not too blurry. I don't think that's too blurry. That looks good. Small regardless. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. This feels like a sometimes. People in wax museums, frozen into their best sterility, are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. And I think that reflects on these not bads as actually also being horrible. And I think this makes sense. Sometimes living, spending half of your life, spending 3/4, 90% of your life doing nothing and being nobody, and spending 10% of your life living like a glorious artistic alcoholic might as well be nothing, might as well be dead, sometimes is just as horrible. They are not bad, just small like the Beatles. Exactly. They just need to do all the time. Bukowski wants people to live their entire lives. And we live in a world that has you spend 8 hours at work and half an hour or an hour on either end in your car if you live in Los Angeles like he did. And then you go and watch your television, which he also didn't like, and smoke your brain-melting weed if you're one of those people. And then do it again. And maybe spend 10% of that time trying to live a life and be a person. This is not to Bukowski's taste. Bukowski wants you to live a life your whole life. The canon. Think of the canon. I don't know if he's talking about like an actual canon here. Like a shoot things canon. But he might be. Before is the stillness and the sterility of the wax sculptures. And I think the canon is motion and explosive. This might be saying to live life like a canon. I'm trying Bukowski Bible thump. I'm kind of a Bukowski Bible thumper. Oh, did the Twitch emote not go through? It didn't. You can do it's colons on either side, I believe. But yeah, a crying face. We have Bukowski emotes in this channel. Where is it? That one's Charles. And we have Bim as well, which is something he says. He says your writing should go bim 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 bim. It should have motion. You shouldn't write boring writing. So he may not have the greatest advice. Number 6 recommended by most doctors. Yeah, it's certainly a life one can live. Okay, and toast for breakfast. The coffee hot enough you know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window, trying to be red and trying to be pink and trying to be geraniums. Trying to be geraniums. I think this is that sometimes again. This is that reprehensible and horrible not bad. Same with probably toast for breakfast. I think it actually still works, Stylish Fail. Number 6 recommendation. It's like there's a subreddit that's like the something dentist, and it's like or some profession, and it's like for really bad products that are recommended by like the worst people of actual professions. I associate geraniums with being decrepit and old. Yes. I think it's also just like people put on a front that they're living a good and beautiful life. Yes. Trying to be red and trying to be pink. Why? This is the first time we see Bukowski talk about trying. I think in a poem so far, at least the first time I've noticed. This is like one of Bukowski's fundamental philosophies on life. Don't try. And Bukowski does not want you to live a life of doing nothing. Bukowski does not want you to live docile and motionless, clearly. But he doesn't want you to force yourself into a society that does not fit you. He does not want you to force yourself to do things that are pathetic. You shouldn't try to be red and try to be pink and try to be who you are, you should just drink for 3 days and 3 nights straight because he knows you want to. I do like that. That's, yeah. Yeah. We call that sitting behind the geraniums, being old and doing nothing. That too, yeah. So, yeah, that's beautiful. I think, yeah. And then he says, no wonder sometimes the women cry. And I wonder if this is actually, like, specifically looking to the plight of women as the ones who have to perform something, right? Women are so much more beholden to some amount of standard of society to, like, hold and be decent and feminine and ladylike. And certainly at the time in, like, the 60s, and so I think he sees, like, these are people who, I mean, even more so than men, than him, are forced to perform to such an incredible degree. So, of course, the women cry. You like the line break again? Yeah. No wonder sometimes the women cry. This is something we can do in poetry, is just use the line break for emphasis. Cry is brought out so much here just by being at the start. Cry, comma. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill, right? These are the us from earlier, the mules who don't want to go, who just are dying in the sun because they're forced to do something that they are not meant to do. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? One more good day. A little bit of it. It's like an odd question that just comes out of nowhere. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? This is probably... So, there, I see it as either maybe a flash of the good thing, like a good day, being able to live in a way that is good, the cigarette, the fulfillment, the whatever. But also, one more good day is not really how Bukowski tends to live. He wants every day to be a good day. Why are you looking for a cigarette right now? And so troubled over it, and so troubled over the idea of having another good day. I see it as being unmoored, perhaps. Damn, I was actually at a hotel in Detroit, like, recently-ish, and I was out of cigarettes, lol. Called out, Miss Becca Fay. That's crazy. He's in a strange place and can't get his cigarette. That's true, like, the cigarette is some amount of grounding. Detroit is a strange place. Detroit's fun. I like Detroit. Looking for a cigarette. One more good day. And maybe this is to speak to the plight of the person in general. That everyone is unmoored, like that word, in a place they don't understand, and at that point, what are they to do but just look for one cigarette to make the next day go by? The cigarette fits in just like the hedonistic lifestyle he admires. Exactly. And they can't find it. And the cigarette is the taste of a life that he sees as what you should live, fully, encompassingly, and beautiful. Yeah, this is you in Detroit. Are you in a hotel room? Are you the reader lost, looking for a way to ground yourself and cope with life? Just a little bit. He calls out the reader, I think, saying this is what you need. You need to chain smoke an entire pack and go drink for 3 days. and then drink for 3 more and 3 more and 3 more and never go back. I think not cope? Not cope. What do you mean not cope? Well, I mean, cope is like not a very useful word. By looking for excitement of a well-lived life. But looking, yeah. Yeah, like the cigarette is that little bit of life. And the person, the beetle, uses the cigarette as a cope because it's a sliver of the well-lived life. It's a symbol of the well-lived life. And that's the cope. Yeah, well, I think it depends on how you look at it. The cigarette is not a coping mechanism, but a way to the good life. It's such a crazy sentence. Because for the beetle who cannot break out of their small mindset, the cigarette is all they have to cope. Bukowski sees it differently on the other side, as that bridge to an actual good and fulfilling and enjoyable life. Which makes the cigarette like a really interesting symbol here. Like, the cigarette, yeah, is not a coping mechanism, but I think for some it is. Again, doctors don't recommend. Yeah. A little bit of it. As the nurses come out of the building after their shift, having had enough, right? This is the sometimes life. They just go home and then they want cocoa and a paper and a bath and whatever. They're hardly thinking at all. Because all these people ever want enough and not enough. They want enough. They want enough to get through to the next day. In the context of the poem, you meant. Cigarettes are such a pointless addiction. Yeah. Absolutely. They don't do anything funny. Yes. Yeah, I know that the cigarettes are the path to the good life is in the context of the poem. I also do not think that cigarettes are the path to the good life. So what the nurses seek is enough. They seek enough. They just want to go home. They want their man. They want to have a bath. They want like reasonable things in a society that has beat them down. And Bukowski adds, yes, it's enough, and it's not enough. It is not enough because there's so much more they could do to be fulfilled. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. I have quite honestly no idea what that is saying, and yet you smoke, Sashville. Hardly thinking at all. Enough and not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. Maybe just little ways that we cope with things. Boxes of tissue paper to cry, antibodies, sort of something that fights disease, the miasma of life, ferns, a dumb little houseplant. Gutters, I don't know, the beauty of LA. I'm not quite sure. I think the stanza is about the details of the banal life. Okay, yeah. Oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. It's just like whatever. I think that's fair. In the most decent sometimes sun. This is that again. Like, oh, Bukowski, your sweet, beautiful descriptions of banality. It is not beautiful sun. It is not decent sun. It is decent sometimes sun. Oh, the detritus. Well, details works too. Oh, detritus, though, I see. Yeah. The decent sometimes sun of LA. There's the soft smoke feeling from urns and the canned sound of old battle planes. And if you go inside and run your finger, sometimes the sun is bright and annoying, I can relate. Along the window ledge you'll find dirt, maybe even earth. I do think earth is something good here. Dirt is just sort of a dirty thing. It's just whatever. It's detritus. But earth is maybe a little bit of beauty along the windowsill. If you look out the window, and is this the window with the geraniums? Yes, geraniums outside a window. Dirt. I think these are the same. It's nice grounding element that we haven't had in a while. Yes, yes. Earth comes in and you're like, oh. And I think the maybe even, right? Something different, something more. Dirt, but maybe even earth. Earth, beautiful, grounding, nice. And you look out the window. And if you look out the window, there will be the day. The day. The day, a whole beauty of things, a whole things you could do. As you get older, you'll keep looking. Keep looking. Not do anything. Be a beetle. Sucking your tongue in a little. No. No. Maybe. So we start with hesitancy, right? Start with hesitancy here. La Bible de Crème. Welcome, Raiders. We are reading a poem by Charles Bukowski, doing some analysis. It is called Something for the Touts, the Nuns, the Grocery Store Clerks, and You. And it is a beautiful, beautiful piece about how we submit to society and the dredges of capitalism. Welcome in, Jude CX, and welcome in, La Bible de Camp. I'm Ginny. What we do here, I'm a poetry streamer. I am the poet of Twitch. I am one of few, if not the only person on Twitch who streams poetry, and I analyze work from poets, notable, or not notable. My chat is notable. I take submissions from my chatters. Anyone new, old, new poets, old poets, young poets, inexperienced poets, all poets. And I read them. And sometimes we just read, published works. But sometimes we, more often than not, we read from chat and the things that people submit. And that's open to anyone just coming in. Hi, French community of readers here. Nice to discover your channel. Absolutely. And I suppose for my people, so it's easy to get to you, I will shout out at La Bible. Oh wait, Bible. It's not Bible. It's not Bible. Bible de Cam. Ugh, I don't do French. But, for my viewers, if you want to go find them, Bible means library. I see, like biblioteca in Spanish. So the library of Cam. Well, welcome, La Bible de Cam. Lulu the Seal, exactly. Okay, awesome. And so for my people, go check them out if you want to go see some French reading and book stuff. And we're just getting to the end of this poem, analyzing and underlining lots of things, where Charles Bukowski, a poet, American poet from the 60s, describes the ways in which people are hesitant to live a true and fulfilling life. And he shows them hesitant, going, no, maybe. And I think this poem ends on a sort of hopeful note. I'll read it again shortly for the new people. It's very long. Ends on this hopeful note, maybe. Because of the maybe. Well, the maybe isn't hopeful. I'm not sure. Because we go from hesitant, to no, and then to, like, maybe. But also maybe is bad in this poem. I wish you a great night and nice readings. I'm going to sleep. Yes, it's late over in Europe. And hoping you can stop by again. Absolutely, I'd love to see you stop by. And hope you had a nice stream. Get some rest. Suppose I didn't ask you how your stream was. I hope it went well. That's what I noticed too. It feels pretty hopeful once you get to this. Once you get to this page. I think it's hopeful. But the issue, Miss Becca Fay, I think, issue, it went really well. Awesome. See you soon. And I'll try to stop by your stream sometime if I can. Looks like we maybe stream at similar times though. So maybe is fundamentally a sort of bad thing in this poem. It's the driveling beetle brain of most people in modern society, which means maybe is not good. But maybe looking out the window and maybe actually doing something and changing, that gives us a little bit of hope. And the last three lines probably do indicate hope as well. Some do it naturally. Some do it obscenely, living. It is living, as from the very start of the poem, everywhere. And this is a hopeful point. There are people living artistic and beautiful and energetic and exciting, drunken, sex-laden, hedonistic lives. Everywhere you go. This is Bukowski's picture of a good life, for those joining us. And they exist. So there is a hope at the end of this poem that there are others and there are people who might change. And that's good. That's good. We like that. So it's a long poem. I mean, it took us roughly an hour or more to just have a initial analysis of this work because it's 6 pages. But I think the initial, since it's so long, gave us a lot of time to explore. Some 90-year-olds haven't lived a day in their life. That is so true, Stylish Fail, and that is what this poem speaks to. It speaks to a society of people, as Bukowski sees, of people who live to an old age and then have not lived a day. And good night, Stylish Fail. Thank you. I will do my best to have a good stream. For those of you coming in from the raid, sort of like awkward timing, because I'm going to run an ad, but I do encourage you to not watch it and do some self-care, drink water, go to the bathroom, take meds if you need to, and that's probably good if you were just watching another stream and coming into mine. I like to remind all of you to be taking care of yourselves, so do that for a couple minutes. Please don't watch the ad. Please don't be poisoned by capitalistic drivel. And I'll be right back with you shortly. Here's the start of the poem on screen. But you're watching, hopefully not watching ads. Need more water. More water indeed. I should stretch. Okay. Good stretch. Welcome back. I'm still Ginny, still known as 2/3 Lotus and the Poet of Twitch. We are still reading Something for the Touts, the Nuns, the Grocery Clerks, and You by Charles Bukowski. And I'm going to read the whole poem again, since we had some new people come in. And then we'll maybe go over the poem again a little bit, talk about broad thoughts, answer questions, and then that'll take us right about to the end of stream for today. So here is Something for the Touts, the Nuns, the Grocery Clerks, and You. And this is referring to you on the other side of the screen, you the reader, you, me. We have everything, and we have nothing. And some men do it in churches, and some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. And some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes with Cadillac souls. Cadillacs and butterflies. Nothing and everything. The face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Something at 8 a.m., something in the library, something in the river. Everything and nothing. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along the ceiling on a hook, and you swing it 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it. $200 worth of dead meat. It's bones against your bones. Something against nothing. Something and nothing. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. And the drill of blood in the white basin tells you nothing at all. And the grave diggers playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost, they tell you nothing at all. We have everything, and we have nothing. Days with glass edges and the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves, fagged interest, with as much sense in defeat as in victory. Slow days, like mules, humping it, slagged and sullen and sun-glazed up a road, where a madman sits, waiting among blue jays and wrens, netted in and sucked of flaky gray. Good days, too, of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striving around your bowels buried in moans, the signs in bull rings like diamonds hollering Mother Capri, violets coming out of the ground and telling you to forget the dead armies and the lovers that robbed you. Days when children say funny and brilliant things, like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks and ideals and possessions and beetle-like opinions. Days when you can cry all day long in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man, because his legs are too long. Days of looking at hedges. And nothing. And nothing. The days of the bosses, yellow men with bad breath and big feet, men who look like frogs, hyenas, men who walk as if melody had never been invented, men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit, men with expensive wives they possess, like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off, or to be walled away from the incompetents. Men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world and yet never get out of their vest pockets. Men like snails. Men like eels. Men like slugs. And not as good. And nothing. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor, at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the stuffing comes out like an old pillow. We have everything. And we have nothing. Some do it well enough for a while and then give way. Fame gets them, or disgust, or age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. The man you knew yesterday, hooking for 10 rounds, or drinking for 3 days and 3 nights. By the Sawtooth Mountains, now just something under a sheet, or a cross, or a stone, or under an easy delusion. Or packing a Bible, or a golf bag, or a briefcase. How they go. How they go. All the ones you thought would never go. Days like this, like your day today. Maybe the rain on the window trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. People in wax museums frozen into their best sterility are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. The cannon, think of the cannon, and toast for breakfast, the coffee hot enough you know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window trying to be red, and trying to be pink, and trying to be geraniums. No wonder sometimes the women cry. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit, looking for a cigarette? One more good day? A little bit of it. And as the nurses come out of the buildings after their shift, having had enough, 8 nurses with different names and different places to go, walking across the lawn. Some of them want cocoa and a paper. Some of them want a hot bath. Some of them want a man. Some of them are hardly thinking at all. Enough. And not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. In the most decent sometimes sun, there's the soft smoke feeling from urns, and the canned sound of old battle planes. And if you go inside and run your finger along the window ledge, you'll find dirt. Maybe even earth. And if you look out the window, there will be the day. And as you get older, you'll keep looking. Keep looking. Sucking your tongue in a little. No. No. Maybe. Some do it naturally. Some obscenely. Everywhere. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Do we have, after many, many minutes of analysis, which many of you were not present for, but any questions about the poem, about the meanings, about parts that we feel I didn't look at over the last while? Favorite parts, least favorite parts. Do we hate it? Do we like it a lot? I personally, this isn't maybe my favorite Bukowski poem, mostly because I think he often says more with less words in other poems. But I mean, it does say a lot. He has beautiful descriptions in this poem. The madman waiting among blue jays and wrens, sucked a flaky gray. The men living in their pocket watches, the oil field woman innuendo, or double meaning, walking with as though melody had never been invented. Lots of good description, lots of beautiful things. And I mean, the overall theme, as I interpret it, of the poem is that everyone is living a sort of banal and useless life. The touts, the rich people, the nuns, the religious, who think they have some meaning there, the grocery clerks, the actual just regular workers, and you. Bukowski is literally talking about everyone, and probably himself. I think he talks about himself as well. This poem says that we are all subject to a life that is less of a life than it could be. And there are people living more of a life than you and less of a life than you, but we all should perhaps just spend more time getting outside the window, not looking out of it, not hiding behind the geraniums, not working until we die. I like it, but I think it's kind of wordy and repetitive thematically. There are lovely nuggets. I agree. Deeply repetitive thematically. And I wonder if this speaks to Bukowski's frustration in the poem. He keeps saying, we have everything and we have nothing. And then there's the sometimes, and then there's just this over and over again. Everything and nothing. Capitalism and revel, and back and forth of these two ideas. And I think it shows that he sees it pervasively, and he's deeply frustrated with it. And the line, we have everything and we have nothing, the very first line of the poem. What is the everything and the nothing? Well, I think we have everything because we are able to step outside of the house at any time. Go outside the window and live your life. Like, really live. Do something beautiful. Do something symphonic. Walk with melody in your step. And yet we have nothing because we do nothing with that opportunity. This poem is more advice than just like, go drink. This is maybe Bukowski's beauty and beautiful life. But an inversion of everything that is nothing in this poem is also. So when he says, men who walk as if melody has never been invented, then you should walk as if you are walking a melody. Men who think it's intelligent to hire and fire and profit, then you should learn to not think that is intelligent. Men who think they should possess other people, possess women, don't do that. Don't show off people. Don't wall away people. Don't use people as an object. Don't kill people. And definitely don't do it because of the law. Don't look at the world and see nothing. Go, see, do anything, Bukowski says. And I think he's so frustrated because no one does. It's like the lament, just nothing changes. Nothing changes. Nothing happens. Don't let fame get you. Don't let disgust get you. Don't let age get you. Don't let an improper diet get you. Like, take care of yourself. Live your life. Don't focus on the material things. Do. Act. Be someone. Don't fall for the easy delusion. And that's the hard part. It's an easy delusion. It's a delusion that everyone falls for. I do like that he encourages you to live the life you want, even if it's obscene. Like, he doesn't necessarily prescribe what the perfect life should be, but it wouldn't be what's prescribed by the society of capitalism. Yeah, that's an excellent point, and I think that's very on par. Bukowski would not prescribe you something correct and perfect, because to say that something is right and something is perfect and something is law, well, that's exactly what Bukowski doesn't like. So, and the dramatic opposite is to live a life that's entirely hedonistic, but really what he wants is for you to just live the life that you love and not have to try to be human. Don't be a geranium trying to be a geranium, just be a geranium, is what he hopes you do. And then you read the poem, and he probably knows this, that you read it. Some people intellectualize or understand or are baffled by the beauty of the words. I certainly am. And then the lament. Maybe he makes you spend so long with the poem because he knows when you're done with it, you're going to go back to the same thing. He really wants you to live. And it's really hard to live an actual life. So, I mean, the constant repetitive theme is likely intentional. It's to combat the constant repetitive nature of the life of his audience. Wordy? Yeah. This is more wordy than other Bukowski poems. Moves and counter moves. The section with the men. Like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel. And that's like very reasonable. This is not an elegant poem by any means. I don't think Bukowski would have wanted it described as such because he wants to show like a reality, and reality is not elegant. It's like sometimes Bukowski just lists things. It's not particularly beautiful. Fame gets them, or disgust, or age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. There's not really an implied flow here. There's no meter, there's no rhyme. It's just words. It's like a wall of words. He doesn't do too much beautiful with formatting. Probably didn't want to. I might say it adds to like the intended point of the poem. Now, it might not be aesthetically appealing to all readers, because readers like beautiful things on a page, generally. Some don't. I think most do. But Bukowski's not trying to give us that. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's like any better. It's just that I think he accomplishes what he wants. I do tend to like poems really stripped down, so sometimes this style seems unnecessarily excessive to me. I do like it and want to see more Bukowski. The nice thing is Bukowski has some very stripped down poems. Like, I will show you. Some of them are deeply stripped down, like Art, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it's one of my favorite poems of his, I think, for a couple of reasons. But one of his poems, Art, it's like 5 lines. And we have a lot to go in this. Art. If you want stripped down, he definitely does it sometimes. As the spirit wanes, the form appears. Art. Right? And we'll probably spend an hour or two with that poem when we come to it. So he has some long, some short, some meandering. There are many. If you want to explore Bukowski, there's a whole YouTube playlist of him that we have, which is, I don't know if you came from a Bukowski video or a Poets of Twitch video, but Charles. There's the playlist of the Bukowski videos, and then you came from Poets of Twitch. Okay, yeah, and we did one of those today before the Bukowski, and we do those a lot. So that definitely happens too. If you're not a Bukowski fan, like, there is a very blurry camera right now. Sheesh. We definitely don't just read this one guy. Although, if I do read a published poet right now, it's Bukowski, because we're working through the whole piece. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. He has interesting thoughts. He really speaks to this one theme a lot. This theme of banal society against living a fulfilling life, and we're now on to like 25 poems saying generally similar things, so it's getting a little like thematically similar, but he also writes beautifully, so it's fun. And I want to get through the whole book, because that just seems like a cool accomplishment. I think that's all for this one in terms of analysis, unless there's other questions. I'm actually not going to read it again. Normally we read the entire poem at the end, but I pretty much did that like 15 minutes ago. And it's just like a long poem to read. So like that's been our analysis of something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Since I didn't really do any like additional analysis after that last reading. So that's that. That is another poem done in the Bukowski, another page defaced, and yeah. Thanks for listening to me and my thoughts on Bukowski. Make sure to check out the rest of the series if you enjoyed, and follow or stop by Twitch if you want to see more. See you there.